Hold it! Stop! Don't shoot! Wait! I'm not here to fight. My name is Harry Mason. I'm in town on vacation.
Thank God, another human being.
Do you work here?
I'm Dr. Michael Kaufmann. I work at this hospital.
So maybe you can tell me what's going on.
I really can't say. I was taking a nap in the staff room. When I woke up, it was like this. Everyone seems to have disappeared. And it's snowing out, this time of year. Something's gone seriously wrong. Did you see those monsters? Have you ever seen such aberrations? Ever even heard of such things? You and I both know creatures like that don't exist.
Yeah. Have you seen a little girl anywhere? I'm looking for my daughter. She's only 7, short, black hair.
She's missing. I'm sorry. But with all those monsters around, I highly doubt that she's... Sorry, I didn't mean to alarm you. Your wife, she's here with you?
She died 4 years ago. Now it's just me and my daughter.
I see. I'm sorry. Well, I'd better be going. I can't just sit around here doing nothing.
So long. Good luck out there.
Well then, what a nice guy. We should invite him over for dinner one day. Greetings, young laddie, I'm Solidus-Skully, and I don't know why I'm doing an Irish accent. And welcome back to the Silent Hill commentary, and that, my friends, was Dr. Michael Kaufmann. And, yeah, seems pretty amiable, even though he just tried to shoot us at point-blank range and, missed. Unless that was an intentional warning shot, perhaps? But why would he want to warn us against interacting with him? I wonder. Excuse me. Yeah, got a bit of a groggy throat today, but don't worry, it's a good thing we're in the hospital then. And yes indeedy, as we traverse through Alchemilla Hospital, I have to remember to keep saying that because for whatever reason, in the original commentary I kept on calling it Alchemia, even though it's meant to be Alchemilla. Why do I call it that? Your guess is as good as mine, I have no idea, but anyway, we have a map, so let's explore this hospital to the nth degree, but yeah, considering the fact that Kaufmann seems to be the only one here, well, where the bloody piss and shit has everybody gone, and what relevance does this have to that crazy lady's bizarre ramblings? Well, I suppose we'll find out, but in the meantime, let's read the paper. Oh, the article's been clipped out. No, now we'll never be informed about today's events. But regardless of such, though, we don't really have much of a, well, for the lack of a better phrase, a normal world Silent Hill place to explore here, so, yeah, bet you can hazard a guess as to what we're gonna primarily be exploring throughout the rest of this place. It's jammed! Some more exploring. Gather another map of the basement. Why exactly this is separate? Well, wouldn't you like to know? Anything I really have to say about it would probably be done a little bit later on, so I guess I could actually move on to some slight voice actor trivia with Michael Kaufmann's voice actor, Jarian Monroe. Not exactly because he does anything significant later on, although, rather bizarrely enough, one of the roles he did actually have later in his voice acting career was voicing one of the Magna Gods in the Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith beat-em-up game. Yeah, I mean, he went from like a rather obscure role in Silent Hill to Episode 3, and that seems to have pretty much been it for him. And I only really knew this because of looking in the credits for the Episode 3 game, so I really don't know what to say. Oh, the kitchen. Maybe we can grab some sterilized not very good tasting food. But pay close attention to that fridge, actually. I don't like it. Feels like something's gonna pop out at me and give us a little bit of a scare. But yes, anyway, there's also a few things to get here. Health drinks. There's also a plastic bottle, which we could have gotten, but whatever, it's empty. There is no Pepsi or delicious beer, so who cares, really? Yeah, I'm sure this isn't gonna affect our rating whatsoever. But in the meantime, however, well now, somebody either had a little accident, or it seems that somebody was searching for something, and they smashed this little red vial of liquid to bits. Oh well, it's probably important they got rid of that. But yeah, anybody who knows anything about Silent Hill is probably already going to clue in as to what ending I'm going to be getting. The tragic one, that I hate so badly, but I mean, this is to pretty much differentiate it from the original commentary, but in turn though, again, if you want to see the other endings, you know, that's what the original commentary's for with a bonus video. But regardless, now that we have the basement key, we can head down into the creepy basement, which even in normal world Silent Hill isn't a place you really want to go because, well, darkness and underground areas are terrifying. Especially the way in which the music builds up with, yeah. Ugh, God, Akira Yamaoka, you are at your best in this game, and never again. Well, okay, you did have varying degrees of success later on, but yeah, I mean, it's just amazing, like, how much even the musical quality can make you a little bit more frightened than the enemies they otherwise throw at you. I mean, you just have your basic class crawlers down here, but, you know, the music is just fucking, ugh. And all it's really doing is just adding additional elements on top of the, you know, existing track that was playing up above, which was, you know, just ambient little scratches in the vent system. Ugh, God, that's creepy, man. But anyway, yeah, you can't access the lift, so you're pretty much gonna turn the power on, and, well, okay, maybe I should let you have a listen to this sound design, but honestly, it doesn't really sound like any generator I've ever heard. It sounds like a fucking TARDIS about to, you know, dematerialize. Seriously, I mean, yeah, well, Silent Hill, gotta make creative use out of your sound design, whatever. I guess maybe it was also there to just sort of give ambience and, gonna make people wonder what the hell is going on. But anyway, there's not really much to explore down here, although keep an eye on the basement. I have a feeling that there are some, secrets that Kaufmann ain't want us to find. And, this is admittedly one of the coolest scares in the game. Just, you know, going up a couple of floors. And, then in turn, seeing something different happen. I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it an interface screw, but, I don't know, it is quite, atmospheric just to see, you know, precisely how things can change. But, in the meantime, though, do we have anything left to explore? If we do not, it's jammed. And everything is pretty much marked off. Well, I mean, except for the, two toilets over there, but you can't go in the toilets anyway, so, yeah, nothing to really focus on. So, onwards and upwards. Creepiness. Oh, by the way, you can actually access some health drinks via the vending machines. Albeit a little bit later, but just so you know, yeah, I mean, if you're running low on a few health items, it is a potential way in which you can, you know, refill your stockades if you feel so inclined. Yes, the second floor. I'm sure this will be absolutely wonderful. Booger. And by the way, they did actually account for you being forced to use the elevator, because the stairwell that you saw on the first floor is completely blocked off, so again, you can't access that. So instead, yeah, pretty much just sort of forced to go up the floors with the lift, but find your doors blocked. Seems I haven't quite finished the renovations from 7 years ago, as Travis Grady found out. But if we can't access any more floors, where do we go? And here's where the creepiness sets in. There is a fourth floor. And notice that in Japanese, she is also another word for death. Well, could be worse. Or will be worse, as we will soon see. It's that girl. And yes, decay and entropy have settled in, and now we're back in the other world. Was this the result of that girl walking into that antique shop? And yeah, we don't have a map for this place because the 4th floor technically does not exist. To be honest, there's a lot of horror potential that can actually be wrought out of, well, I mean, to be honest, I kind of have with, you know, today's day and age, you know, current obsession with liminal spaces and, you know, non-Euclidean geometry, but yeah, I mean, there is a lot of horror potential to be wrought in accessing floors and places of, you know, locations that don't technically exist. I mean, urban myths and legends have existed about this sorts of things for years at this stage, but, you know, if done effectively, it is a great horror concept for completely screwing the mind over. Oh god, it's quite creepy. The darkness. And now the other world is back in good and proper. Now we pretty much have no choice, and as we descend to the 3rd floor, if you try and go back this way, yeah, it's pretty much blocked off by a wall, so... Indeed, Silent Hill does strange things to reality, as we have already witnessed, but who's controlling it? Is it that girl that we saw in the boiler room? Is it Cheryl? Well, I mean, to be absolutely fair, I wouldn't blame her for having a fear of hospitals, but... yeah, this place is quite creepy, and to kind of go into, well, a few things first and foremost, our new enemies of the now, the puppet nurses. Notice here that they are designed not as sexy fetish creatures, but instead as, you know, bog-standard nurses with parasitic creatures attached to their backs, and their movements themselves are very sluggish, very sort of, labored. Like again, these parasites are just very much draining their essence, and it creates for some very chilling ambience, really. And you know what? I can only attribute the puppet nurses and indeed puppet doctors. Yes, finally, gender equality in Silent Hill. I can only really attribute the puppet nurses and puppet doctors in terms of design to Naoko Sato, who, as I mentioned beforehand, was also a, you know, monster designer for this game. And again, all I can really conclude, considering that the later 2 games were handled by Masahiro Ito alone, is that, yeah, Masahiro Ito has a sexy nurse fetish, and, yeah, the way in which Naoko Sato designed them here, much creepier for the lack of sexuality theming. You know, which I feel is the sort of thing that a lot of, like, horror games usually tend to miss out on when it comes to adapting hospital levels. Again, it's not necessarily the idea of, like, oh no, blood, rust, and, you know, stuff that makes hypochondriacs, you know, fizzle over in a fit of despair. It's more so the fact that, again, like, I mean, being absolutely helpless and, you know, seeing, you know, scrubs and clad professionals who are otherwise there to help you, just sort of performing acts upon your body. There's a sense of vulnerability with stuff like this, and that's where the horror lies. In vulnerability and just having a bunch of people who are otherwise not there to hurt you, just there to alter you. They will make you better. Humans will be vulnerable. Human society will be better. You will be like us. Oh, thank God it's jammed. We don't have to explore more of this frightening place. Oh, the horror. But I mean, I will say though, in terms of soundtrack, yeah, Alchemilla Hospital's Otherworld has a really fucking chilling track. And again, like, I mean, even with, like, some tertiary beats that would otherwise be, well, somewhat silly with the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun with the very tinny sounding drums, it just fucking works in unnerving you, man, and, discordant beats and harmonies, they work rather effectively. What is this? The plate of the cat? Oh, Japan, you and your Alice in Wonderland obsession, and, by extension, Lolita obsession, may your wonders never cease. But anyway, to kind of talk about enemy dynamics, in regards to the nurses actually, yeah, they do actually have a few team-up attacks. Again, if there's more than 2 in a room, the primary motivation will first of all be to start choking Harry, and then of course letting the, you know, buddy pretty much just jump in and, you know, take a couple of stabs at him. So indeed, it is quite frightening to see that these nurses are, well, they have attack patterns that are kind of reminiscent of what Forbidden Siren will later take, where, again, their attack patterns would either be to take a stab at your player character, or indeed to, you know, choke them to death, which, quite creepy, really. In fact, I guess you could say that this entire section right here is there to be a sort of precursor to what Forbidden Siren would eventually be, in terms of, you know, the abscess of God taking control of them, and, as you can no doubt peer down that hallway, that's where the puppet doctors are. But don't worry, let's, well, we could grab some health drinks, but, let's hope it doesn't come to that. There we go. He didn't notice us, we're safe. And there they are. Now, to be completely honest, I'm kind of surprised they didn't include more, like, actual, like, doctor enemies in the game. I mean, again, I guess that would have ruined Masahiro Ito's fetish from him going, oh no, men, I can't masturbate to that. Well, I mean, okay, probably given that he just doesn't swing that way, but I mean, even still, like, I mean, to talk about the puppet doctors, I mean, the fact that, you know, they just have very inhuman sort of groans, the very laboured sort of sound of them is what I'm getting at here, and the fact that, I don't know. I mean, I suppose without getting too stereotypical, there's just something kind of frightening about having a man just sort of, you know, take a bit of a... whatever. I'm probably exposing a bit more myself about my fears than anything else in a past experience, but whatever. Ugh. It's saying something when even when you kill them, their death rattles are still fucking... Ugh. Skully is scared. But anyway, I think it's about time we get to brass tacks and start talking about what this hospital area is, because in terms of what the Alchemilla Hospital is, it is the largest area in the game, but there are some latter portions of the area, like you saw with that little birdcage room earlier on, that's pretty much meant to be both foreshadowing and set up to, you know, puzzles and mechanics much later on, so... Yeah, there are a few portions of the hospital that you might think, oh, hang on, I have to come back here later and do something, but... Don't worry too much, it's something that you need to pretty much go back to much later on in the game compared to anything else, which I suppose is also worth mentioning exactly how it differs compared to design with, you know, the Midwich Elementary School. In terms of how Midwich acted, it was pretty much like a, well, pretty much set up like a traditional video game dungeon as I mentioned beforehand. God, that lack of reaction to Harry's shotgun blast, I mean, that's the fucking terror of it. Anyway... back to relevant topics. Yeah, I mean, compared to Midwich Elementary School, which pretty much had you solving puzzles in order to reach a destination, there is something similar going on with Alchemilla Hospital, but it's in much smaller scale compared to the rather large scope of the hospital in which you're having to traverse. A lot of the things that you're trying to unlock in Alchemilla Hospital is primarily moving the chess pieces ahead for much later in the game in terms of plot revelations, since, yeah, without giving the game away ahead of time, something rather heavy did happen in this decrepit hospital, and even in the normal world, yeah, very dark things are reflected in this distended realm. But I will save my tongue on that for later. Oh gods, fucking doctors. Stay away from me. Shotgun, save me! Ugh. Frightened. Ah, seems there was somebody in there. Could it be Cheryl? Cheryl? Dear. Never a dull moment. Well, I mean, there is a dull moment, but it's neither here nor there in this case. Anyway, yeah, I mean, if you were thinking that you could use the lift to pretty much access the second floor hallway, you'd be quite mistaken. But, in the meantime, though, yeah, that's pretty much why we need to access the stairwell, go down to the first floor. And any items that you need to access, you can, well, pretty much get on your way there. So, once again, Silent Hill 1's efficiency of design is, rearing its head, so, yeah, the game does have that going for it. And, a bit of a bizarre exception, actually. 2 parts for another world. Oh, stop the presses. Well, I mean, again, I suppose this doesn't really mean shit compared to, you know, the original playthrough where I had several parts. Namely just due to the 15-minute time limit that, you know, newcomers were started with back in 2014. Compared to nowadays, I think, where you can pretty much just upload videos as long as you want, but That's primarily because I guess YouTube now has the space for it, and they can pretty much just do whatever the fuck they want. But yeah, stuff like this, like that little board over there, that's pretty much what I was talking about beforehand with puzzles being set up for later. Just not in the way that you might think, but we don't have all the pieces of this current puzzle just yet, which is, well, a rather morbid poem. Clouds flowing over a hill, sky on a sunny day, tangerines that are bitter, lucky four-leaf clover, violets in the garden, dandelions along a path, unavoidable sleeping time, liquid flowing from a slashed wrist. Reminds me of something that I would have written when I was a teenager, but in any case though, this is pretty much what all the Alice in Wonderland plates pretty much have in common with this area. We are concordantly missing one of them, so yeah, I guess we better get to exploring the second floor, and then progressing onwards to new adventure. But yeah, we've only got 3 plates, so yeah, this part is pretty much going to be ending with us getting one of the last plates that we need. So on and so forth, grg blarg. But yeah, you also need to make sure that you order these plates in the correct order, because I remember on a test playthrough that I pretty much, again, it's pretty much expecting you to go clockwise, not anti-clockwise, so yeah, you pretty much gotta go off and get back to exploring the levels, you know, solving the puzzles, and yeah, making sure that you get everything in the right order. Yeah, well, freeing up some inventory space. We'll be back later, you decrepit, depressing little poem. But where could it be? The lock is jammed. Insert obvious Silent Hill joke as to why Harry doesn't just kick the door down. Yeah, whatever. In any case, this is what you need a blood pack for. As you can see in here, well, we have a bit of a prelude to a creature that we may or may not be seeing later. Yes, the tentacle monster that you actually see in Silent Hill 3. Anyway, use the blood pack and you'll be pretty good, dude.